Greetings adventurers, and welcome to Loot Goblin Marketplace. As a dungeon master, when you're preparing for a session, you can make notes upon notes of really cool things that the party might interact with that never really sees use. It's important to remember that as the players interact with the world though, you might have to make some changes, and that's totally fine. You want your world to adjust to what the players are doing. But what happens when you have a player that doesn't like your world and decides to make small tweaks that makes his character look better, when you're not looking? That would be a major betrayal of trust and something that this author experienced in his story. Today's treasure goes by the name "A Player Was Sneaking Into My Notes and Changing Things to Make Himself Come Out Looking Better." This is messed up. Really, it's so messed up. I've been a dungeon master for as long as I can remember, and I love playing tabletop role-playing games. I've been friends with this group for gods, who knows how long, decades at least. We usually play D&D together. It's my go-to group. It's a bigger group than recommended, 7 players total, but since we've all been playing together for so long, it actually runs pretty smoothly. When we first started, we didn't have nearly as much content as we do now, so back then I created a homebrew world. It's been growing and evolving over at least 2 decades now. It's my project. I take a lot of pride in it. I'm not saying it's the best, but it's the best I could do. I kept tons of notebooks over the years to keep everything consistent, but in the last year or two, the sheer number of them got, well, pretty cluttered. We finally decided to organize everything digitally. I started using Notion. It's a bit clunky at first, but once it's all set up, it's amazing. I can't believe I didn't switch to it sooner. Anyways, that's not the main point of the story. I use Notion for everything: world building, session notes, campaign plots, archives. It does wonders. It makes my life easier, and I can access it from pretty much anywhere. Now onto the real story. About 3 months ago, our group hit some major scheduling issues. We couldn't play for a while. We went nearly 2 months without a session. Thing is, the break happened after I'd already written up the notes for our next session. Nothing new there, right? Scheduling issues are the bane of tabletop role-playing games. No, I definitely agree, and I've heard really good things about groups having databases for these long-spanning campaigns. You basically are making a wiki for your homebrew world, and I'm sure that's a huge undertaking for yourself, and the party appreciates the note-taking. Well, except for the problem player in this story, I'm sure. But about a month ago, we finally managed to set up a session, so I went back to my notes to refresh my memory, and that's when things felt off. Some things weren't exactly how I remembered them. Bullet points, loot list, NPC interactions, etc. Even the way it was written, it all seemed a little different. It wasn't that different from what I remembered, but just different enough to feel off. I figured it was just my mind playing tricks on me and ignored it. I made a few tweaks that I thought needed more attention, and that was that. 2 weeks later, we had our session coming up, so I went back to my notes to check everything, get the minis ready, the maps, etc. And once again, things were different. Stuff I knew I changed had been reverted back. Let me paint a picture. The changes all lean towards certain outcomes. I don't usually set things up like that, so it felt wrong. I made all my changes again. Yes, that's right, DM. Your notes are being adjusted. You will give me that new greatsword. When we finally met for the session at a friend's place, things went smoothly for the most part, but a few things caught my attention. One player who normally was the most outgoing was acting a bit strange. When someone seems anxious or expectant, like they're waiting for something specific to happen, it was like that. He didn't say anything, but I got the feeling he was expecting something particular to happen, and when it didn't, or didn't happen the way he wanted, he looked frustrated. I thought it was strange, but honestly, everyone's under different kinds of stress, so I didn't dwell on it. I went home that day and got on Notion to write up what happened in the session for my archives. The next day at work, I pulled out my phone to check a few things. My mind wanders sometimes. I opened the archive for that session and it was altered again. That's when I was sure something was up. I asked a friend who works in programming if there was any way things could change on Notion by themselves. Maybe their servers were acting up or something. He took my laptop and the first thing he checked was the list of devices with access to my account. There was 4. My laptop, my phone, my tablet, and another laptop I didn't recognize which had logged in that day. As you can imagine, that was absolutely terrifying. I don't want anything on my Notion exposed. It's my work and I don't want anyone else looking at it. So we did a full reset, changed my passwords and everything. My friend even went the extra mile and reformatted my laptop and reset all my devices, which sucks, but hey, security first. Well, there wasn't much more we could do after that. My next D&D session was coming up, so I went to work on it. That's when, out of nowhere, I remembered the player's odd behavior. It bugged me, so I decided to check my archives, my world notes, everything. And holy hell, it was everywhere. Everywhere I looked, there was things that were changed to make his character character, yes, plural, look better. He'd even edited full-on epilogues calling his character the party's brain and leader, and so on. I was furious, still am. Our next session was supposed to be this Saturday, but I couldn't go through with it. I called him and laid it all out and told him I knew what he'd been doing. And you know what the sociopath said? Why does it matter? It's not like it's hurting anyone. I just wanted a better light. Are you kidding me? Okay, hold up. That's his response. I mean, he's basically writing his own fanfic, which would be totally fine if he wasn't completely overriding your work. There's no reason why he can't throw up a Google Doc and just start typing whatever he wants to make himself sound strong and handsome in the party. This man's quite literally rewriting history in a game because he doesn't like the outcome, which is kind of pathetic when he's called out on it, and then this is his response. I've known him for over 20 years, and this guy pulls something like that. I'm sorry, but I'm just so damn angry. I hung up the call the moment he said that and made sure to kick him out of every TTRPG group we have. I told every player what he'd been up to, and they're all just as pissed as I am. Maybe even more, honestly. Yeah, because it's a group effort, and the man just decided to make his own power fantasy. I'm glad they're with you on this one. Now I'm trying to put things back together, fix everything. Thank God I have my notes so I can fact check it all, but seriously, who does that kind of crap? TLDR, a player I've known for 20 years was hacking into my notes, changing past campaign details and current session notes to make his character look better, and didn't even care when he got caught. Look, I'm usually one for a path of redemption in a lot of these stories, but kicking the guy, totally fair here. Everyone's on the same page but him. He's the one that has to go. You try to do the mature thing, you tried to talk to him, and all he did was kind of mock you and say, what's the big deal? Well, if it wasn't a big deal, you wouldn't have edited it to make yourself look better. I think the worst part is he treated you almost like an AI or like a program in a game where if he writes something down, you have to follow it, where it's like, oh yeah, so-and-so's human fighter gets a really cool magic item, and also my NPC is going to call him handsome in the next session. Wait, why did I write that? Never mind. I guess I have to do it because it's in the notes. That's kind of ridiculous. I don't really know what he expected out of it, besides making himself feel better or feel like the main character. Anyone that refers to himself as the party's brains and leader in notes that he expects no one else to read but himself, that's a little bit of a main character syndrome if I don't say so myself. This actually kind of reminds me of how people like lie about dice rolls, but it's almost like another level past that of pathetic. I don't know, I didn't expect to go this hard on the guy when I started reading the story, but when I heard it was 20 years of stuff down the drain, knowing how many hours this DM put into it, and the fact that the DM seems very open to making tweaks based on what the players want. This isn't like an author forcing his fan fiction down a bunch of players' throats. This is 6 players and a DM having the time of their lives, and one random player deciding that they should rewrite the story just because they're better than everyone else in a fake game that they have to lie to make themselves better than everyone else. I'm just hoping everyone is as frustrated as I am, and I'm not coming off a little harsh here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to share your comments because I really want to know what you guys think about this one. Like and share the video. If you want to support the channel, you can join on the Patreon or become a member here on YouTube. And please, please, please do not edit other people's notes behind their backs like this guy did. Thanks for stopping by. I hope to see you in the next video, and farewell for now.